Hello, I am Thomas Campbell, and this video is for those who have decided that they want mindfulness to be a part of their lives, and they're looking for a first step to start doing that. The key to regular moment-to-moment awareness, what we call mindfulness, is regular practice. So it's better to practice 3 to 10 minutes every day than big, long hour to 2 hour session on a weekend. That could be great for you, but you might get frustrated because that's a lot at once. And mindfulness is really all about the moment to moment. So getting it as frequent as you can is the best. What I'm going to teach is just a very simple 3 to 10 minute thing that you can do every morning, preferably. But if it works out for you, you can do it at some other point in your day, like lunch or in the evening. So the first step is to just know what you're feeling. So mindfulness is all about being aware of what's going on inside you and around you. So knowing what you're feeling, identifying your emotions. Some people have an easy time doing this. They can just readily say what they're feeling, and some people have more of a difficult time, and it'll take a little bit of work. I've put in the description a couple links to some emotion wheels or emotion charts, which are really helpful for understanding a little bit more how our emotions work and being able to kind of pinpoint what you're feeling. So you might be the type of person who only ever feels 1 to 2 main emotions. You might be a person who has 10 emotions. If you have more than 10, that's very impressive. And it probably also means you've got a lot on your mind. So really, if you have more than 6 emotions going on at once, you should probably write them down. The reason is you are doing mental effort trying to keep track of all the things you're thinking about at once. And it's best to put that onto paper because paper does it effortlessly. It doesn't have to keep deciding to have things written down. Then you can have it there, and it helps the mind be put at ease a little bit. So identify what your emotions are, and then I want you to sort all your emotions into 2 categories. Emotions that I can do something about right now or today, and emotions that I don't have any control of or can't do anything about today. And when I say emotions, I mean the situations that the emotions are based on, right? So I wake up tired because people were shooting fireworks off late into the night, and I woke up tired. So I do my emotional check-in, and I'm like, well, I'm tired and a little bit irritated. I can't do a ton about the feeling of tired, except maybe I'll plan some rest in later in the day, or I'll remember just not to work myself too hard today, plan an early bedtime. And then the irritation, I can decide, well, it's once a year, I can't do anything about it, I'm just gonna let it go, right? So that's the first part, identifying and sorting my emotions. Then the second part is to start calming myself. And really this is the second and third part, but it starts with some deep breathing. So if you don't have a deep breathing practice, just take a few moments and notice what your breathing is like when you're relaxed. And then just try to increase your inhale by maybe 1/2 of a second or 1 second, and increase your exhale time by maybe 1 to 2 seconds. Just try to breathe a little bit longer than you normally would. Don't try to start, if you're not used to deep breaths, don't try to start taking huge deep breaths, you'll get lightheaded. And while you're doing this, I want you to be present with your emotions. So this is the second thing, the second step here, is just to be present with them. Sometimes I like to compare emotions to animals. Maybe animals at a zoo and I'm the zookeeper, or maybe I'm the zoo, right? All these animals in the zoo have their own lives, they do things, and if I'm a zookeeper, I need to understand my animals really well. I need to understand my emotions really well in order to be able to handle them. If I don't know anything about dogs and I'm a dog owner, then I'm going to have a lot of conflict with my dog, likely, because I just don't understand that, to my dog, snatching food off the table is, no harm, no foul. It's not a bad thing, it's just a dog thing, right? So if I understand that, I can manage my animals better and I can manage my emotions better if I understand them. So being present with my emotions is basically being willing to be in the zoo and say, I am going to just observe what I'm feeling. This can be very difficult if I'm used to trying to avoid or run away from my emotions. And I call this sort of a Coca-Cola commercial type of thinking. I try to medicate myself or distract myself with something fun, enjoyable, or pleasurable with the idea that that's going to bring me joy. Coca-Cola doesn't bring us joy. The only reason that they sell it to us saying that it's going to bring us joy is because we already believe that, right? Really, no emotions are bad. I can feel all different types of emotions, the whole spectrum of emotions, and still maintain a sense of peace. Maybe not all times that I do that, but with more mindful cultivation, I'm able to do that better. And that's what mindfulness is about, feeling the full spectrum of human emotion and not judging any one part of it. It can be a very wholesome experience. So that's the first part. Spending even a minute sitting with your emotions is okay. If they get too intense and you want to stop, that's okay too. This isn't a sort of a ride or die kind of thing. It's a progress. It's a process. And then the next part of that is doing deep breathing to let things go. And this can be as simple as every time I breathe in, noticing everything that I'm feeling, and every time I breathe out, letting it go. Breathing in, noticing everything I'm feeling, and breathing out, let it go. Maybe I'm even excited about something that I'm going to do in my day. That's great. And I'm going to practice letting that go too, which is a form of faith that I can even let happiness go, knowing that I have faith that it'll come back to me, right? It's not so elusive, except when I'm actually trying to catch it. Say, trying to buy a Coke in order to make me happy, right? So I let everything go, all of my emotions go. And this is probably one of the most difficult parts, which is why it's really helpful to link it to the breath, because when you exhale, you're literally letting the old air out, right? That moment that I just had just now, I let go. It's behind me, right? So that's that could be 3 minutes to 10 minutes, really depending on how much time you want to spend on each one. It takes less time the more mindful you are, because if you do a daily mindfulness practice, your emotions don't build up to the point you have 8, 10, 20 different emotions going on all at once. You start to sort through these and you naturally process them. An emotion a lot of times doesn't really need that much time from us. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of time, truly respected and honored and fully felt. A lot of times they move on pretty quickly after being fully felt. But I can push that emotion away for weeks or months and always kind of feel it because it's on the back burner, but I've never dealt with it. So I just build up more anxiety about this other emotion, right? So mindfulness helps us let those things go. An important thing to remember about mindfulness is that it also doesn't make us happy. Oh well. What mindfulness does do is make it more likely for us to be able to be happy. I have natural happy moods which are suppressed by this mind like a torment that's always fighting itself. When I allow the storm to clear after sitting with each emotion, I basically lay a stage, which, in my mind, which creates a space for a lot more happiness to occur. So mindfulness doesn't create happiness, but it does let it happen a lot more often, probably than it would have happened otherwise. It can make emotions more intense and more severe sometimes, right? But we know that emotions cannot harm us. They can hurt, but they can't harm us, meaning they can't make our lives measurably worse by having them, right? They can't do something to cause us to not be able to live a life with meaning. They can't do that, right? All right. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll probably make a video based on that. Maybe deep breathing or something like that. You just let me know. Thanks. I hope you have a good day.